Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Sage.
All right, good. Good introductions. Good introductions. All right. So we're going to be talking about Stream Me and what happened with Stream Me. So for all of y'all, is what I'm trying to say, that don't know, I used to stream on Stream Me. I used to. I guess I don't anymore. The website doesn't exist. From about February of 2017 until like now, because the website just doesn't exist. It just poofed off of the planet. So we're gonna try to get to the bottom of why exactly that happens. And so Sage and Zach, y'all have been kind of on the ground here doing the research for us. So, yeah, tell us what you found.
Yeah, so I first learned about Stream Me shutting down, I think, around Monday afternoons when it happened, right?
I think so.
Around Monday morning or something.
Yeah, I remember waking up and seeing it's all fucked up, and I was like, oh,
okay. And immediately I started looking for answers. I thought it was very interesting because I used to stream there, and we all used to stream there, and so it was kind of a shock without any information or news. And Stream Me, I guess their staff or their team have been really quiet about it, especially on social media.
So no announcement, right?
Yeah, and so it was really weird because they, if you go to their site at 403s, right, and
yeah, it doesn't work.
If you go to their Twitter, they were just a few days before promoting some stuff for their website, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very odd. And over the whole week, there's been a lot of weird rumors. I think Zach was talking about somewhere, Scuff.com. Somebody had said that Ice Poseidon, who's behind that project, just went ahead and bought Stream Me. There are some of these other streamers. I think the one guy is called Ralph or something, was showing people that there was a dox that took place, and the dox was the owner's information. And not to go into too much graphic detail, if you don't know about what was doxed, they had found pictures of his family and started doing something called tributing, which is pretty gross. And so there was the alleged, group of people.
Is it like Tribute to the Doomed, the Yu-Gi-Oh card?
No.
No.
Okay.
Do you think Tribute of the Doomed is familiar with this?
Yeah, is it similar enough? Like, could you get a kind of a similarities at all?
No.
No. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really gross.
Go on.
Yeah. So these folks out here have been kind of propagating a bunch of rumors, and the interesting thing about it is that some of these streamers have said that, oh well, the the staff had given them this information directly and said a few things, which kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But me and Zach thought something was up, and so we decided that since the Stream.me staff weren't actively engaged with their community that they just dropped and stuff, that we would also look into a few things, and we have our own theory, and it's more plausible.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get into that. So I sent you some links, and in some of those links you can see some of the evidence there.
So I've got this case file open,
Mm-hmm.
And that's like gonna be like the main thing we're gonna be looking at as far as the visual content, I think.
Yeah, and we can lead to that.
Okay.
For the folks that are here watching, they're probably not familiar with the history of Stream Me and the people that are running it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like a small-time service, just like what Twitch does, or what we're doing here on YouTube right now. But they had a few cool features, like I think some of the technology that they were using made it to where it was almost real time. There was little delay to no buffer. You could do different things like multi-stream within their in their chat and things like that. So it was really unique. And
yeah, that's a good platform tech-wise.
Yeah, and that's important to understand when it comes to this case. But they also, these owners, their names are, and this is public knowledge. You can find this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
the main guys we'll talk about is Sean Baudet and Ross Perkins, and these guys have led a pretty interesting life when it comes to their business dealings. If you go look at their public profiles, they really don't go into much detail or paint a picture about who they really are, I think. Sean Baudet is a real estate guy who works with a lot of commercial entities, and then the Ross Perkins fellow, if you look at his LinkedIn, he's like, his newest business is making video games for children. It's pretty innocent stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely sounds very good.
Yeah, so if Zach wants to take over and explain the next part, why it's important to paint this picture of who they are, we can get into that, and then we can hop into some of the terrible things that I think that they're into.
So, basically, so who Stream Me is, before being Stream Me is important because it gives you kind of an idea of how small the website is compared to some of their other stuff. It backs up the point that if the owner were to shut down the website over being doxxed, this isn't the only website he would shut down. They would shut down something a lot larger because they are associated with a lot of things that are a little bit more in the limelight than Stream Me. And these are things that you can find, publicly through the docs. So if, these people are going after them, they're gonna go after them through their other sites too. It doesn't really make sense to shut down Stream Me and not their other sites. So,
yeah, the people that own Stream Me own a fuckload.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so it started with, what is it called? Crocodile something? I don't remember. I gotta pull it up.
Flying Crocodile, I think.
Flying Crocodile.
FCI is the abbreviation.
That seems to be where it starts. Now, there might be stuff before this, but this is, late 90s, early 2000s. They started to Ross started to kind of get into pornography and worked with someone on that project. And I believe that's was it Flying Croc or StreamMate that started with the technology? I think they just went after StreamMate in the court case, right?
So StreamMate?
StreamMates. So if you look in the docket, they talk about it, and what's really important to understand is they have a history of having their hands on a lot of cookie jars, and they've got a ton of businesses. So these guys have went out and created a bunch of different entities. Like, for instance, the Flying Crocodile one is their streaming service. Basically what these guys do, and they've gotten into, is that they run this worldwide live streaming and content distribution operation. Okay. And that includes a lot of stuff. That includes their development for their technology, their marketing, which we'll get into in a second. They do affiliate site relations, which is another important thing that we will talk about later. And they do things like webcam model recruiting, and that's some shady practices that they've been caught with that too.
Hey now.
But and their companies all share this big common ownership, which is why in that lawsuit they're all reined in on one thing. And they do a lot of stuff. Like, for instance, there's one, they made Riser Apps, which is a company that they've built apps for phones that can take you to their websites and stuff. They have a tech group that went out and specifically produced malware, adware, spyware, a bunch of really nasty programs and stuff. To help, out with that. And there's some lawsuits about that too.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
These guys have a lot of businesses, and they've got a lot of websites that just deal in nothing but pornographic stuff. So, very interesting how they've
certainly
Certainly
extraordinarily interesting, I will say.
Porn and Nazis.
Nothing really that bad per se, but very interesting. You can definitely kind of see where they they get their vibe going when you kind of throw in your personal anecdotal experience with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with something Zach found. Zach found something about them suing another business over. I thought it was an Onion article, honestly, but it's so dumb that it's true. They were suing another business for cleaning up their malware, the malware and the adware that they were producing, which I thought was kind of weird. I think I sent you the link. It's the Seattle EPI one. Zach, you want to talk about that one?
I actually don't even, in this scheme of things, that was the last thing that I even considered being important. I can barely even remember it. And it really was, like, the way that it reads, the way the article reads, it sounds like it's fake. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's from a local news print over in Seattle, which is where some of their operations are based out of. But it's these guys are the folks that are involved. So I think from what I remember is when Zach and I were researching this, he presented it to me and was like, "Hey, what is this? This is really funny." And we both read it, and it turns out that, like I had said, one of the website or one of the companies that these guys run produces malware and spyware and such to get people to come into their pornography websites, right? And so I'm sure. You know, if you've ever went to like a website like a Juarez site or any of these sex camming websites and stuff, there'll be like an ad that'll pop up.
Naughty websites.
Very naughty websites.
I'm sure that everyone in this audience has been to a naughty website at some point in time.
And you get naughty ads that pop up, right? And so...
well, I don't know about that. I'm not admitting anything here. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to provide some comedic relief here.
Well, these guys are responsible for probably that time that people were, discovering sex camming, and then a really loud ad popped up in the background that had, like, come to this website, and...
Come to this website.
Spelled C-U-M.
Yeah, C-U-M. Stop.
And you've got all that really annoying malware and spyware stuff that gets into your computer, and they're responsible for it. Well, the long story short here is they were suing a internet optimization firm that made a program that cleaned out malware, and they were suing them based on losing profit because no one was going to click on the naughty ads. So, like I said, it's kind of like it's really
that's
odd.
Really hilarious. That's really hilarious.
I mean, we can all agree, right, that nobody here likes pop-up ads. Nobody likes.
No, I love pop-up ads.
Malware ads.
I like because it's a great surprise. You're scrolling through, and then you just get an epic surprise.
It's like, to me, when I read it, it was like an Onion article because it's like the bad guys are trying to sue the good guys for cleaning up all their mess.
And I'm assuming they lost, correct?
I didn't get that far, and I honestly don't remember. I didn't research that part. What I was looking up was, after this, I was looking up stuff like to look for like lawsuit stuff, right? And so to find this lawsuit, we stumbled into the other one that we think is kind of pertinent to maybe why they got shut down. Again, it's all speculation. We didn't see Stream Me specifically cited in there, but there's evidence to support, and I've not paid the money to go pull up the dockets or anything, but there's like, since what was that ad is 2014, I think, is this lawsuit. Let me pull it up.
This lawsuit? The adware one is 2004.
No. The major one. The one where they roped in all their companies and they're suing them for...
Which one is that?
Theft of technology. It's the Insight. It was filed in August of 2014. So since then, there's been like 4 to 5 years of nothing but updates on the legal website that I found that on.
Okay.
And so some of them that I did get to pull up for free because they were short and available, I guess, to the public or whatever. But they were just back and forth discussions about discovery. Basically, the plaintiff that's suing the Stream Me guys wants to keep finding all of their websites and maybe where they've applied their stolen technology. And,
Okay.
if you read the lawsuit, it talks about that there's this company. They work. They're called WAG, I believe. They're big on streaming and helping radio stations get their stuff out there
Okay.
on the internet. And their technology, they paid for a man to do it, to create this technology, and they own the patents. And so if you go through it and you keep reading, you'll see things like, for instance, descriptions of Sean Baudet and Perkins and the businesses that they run, which is all of this pornographic stuff. They own like a huge amount of it. In fact, I think it's even cited that they own the biggest network of sex cam websites and technology in the world.
Okay.
And then they end up going into detail of what the technology does. And so something that Zach and I found that was really hilarious is that Perkins, the guy who's like the co-owner or whatever of Stream.me, brags in his LinkedIn profile about what's so good about Stream Me. And if you go to the Google website for patents and you just read the patents, it's verbatim almost what he's bragging about on his LinkedIn profile. So it's pretty interesting to see that that's kind of maybe a correlation.
So like basically he's trying to like take things that aren't really his and then like say like, hey, look at me, look at what I have.
Yeah, that's what it seems like if you read his LinkedIn page. But I think it's really curious that like all the things that I experienced when I was streaming on Stream.me, like the low latency and the zero buffering kind of thing, like it was always really
really fast and really good.
Really fast. Mm-hmm. That was like the 4 patents that that they're arguing over.
So like all the good
looking
parts
into
of the
right there.
website had nothing to do with them?
Yeah, I mean that's what their alleged lawsuit is over. They're
Yeah,
over.
it hasn't been finished. They haven't finished it. It's currently, the last activity on it was January 7th.
Yeah, we saw a decision of something of some sort. Again, a lot of this, whenever legal things happen, you've got a plaintiff who wants to go and accuse the defended party about something and say, hey, you stole this. Well, then they get to make a document and they come back in whatever court arrangement and refute that or accept that some of the things that they're being accused about is the truth. But you should probably, leave it at that. And what's been going back and forth now is that the plaintiff goes, well, in discovery, we want to find more. In discovery, we think we'll find out that you actually did steal some shit from us, and that this is what we need to point out. This website here, you own 500 of them plus, it says in this lawsuit. We would like to go to this website and look into depth of the technology that you apply whenever you say you stream this girl doing this or this boy doing that or whatever, on the naughty website. That could be technology that they stole to help them with that stuff. So that's what most of the back and forth has been about for the past 4 years, is them trying to let them in discovery go to this website and see the technology that they stole. And that's where Zach and I are at on our theory, is that maybe
while this basically was all going on, they just kind of made another website, Stream Me, that like did the same thing.
Well, if you look at the timing too, it's kind of interesting. So this lawsuit started at the end of 2014, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at any of the past business ventures, when it came to, let's say, their flagship website, which was Stream Mates, it was not a very good website. Zach pulled up some information about them in the Better Business Bureau, where they were scamming people. Which is
Really?
Yeah, they were using the technology. So two of the patents are these buffering systems, and the other 2 are delivery systems. And they used one of the buffering systems. So they would set this up in this way where they would have a girl or a boy on camera, and they are doing things live for a chat, and you would pay with your credit card. They didn't use like a third party. They had you pay straight up with your credit card for 5-10 minutes depending upon what you wanted. So you'd go ahead and pay for 10 minutes with the person that you want to see do diddle themselves or whatever the fuck. And during this, all of a sudden, the video starts buffering, and you can't see anything. And so you get 10 minutes of staring at like a circle, going around your screen, and that's it. And they did that so they could cover up for the fact that they were also using old footage. They were using footage of girls that had left the industry years later, years before these videos were played.
Yeah.
And they were, what was the other thing? They were doing that, and they were using footage from other websites that they didn't own too, I think.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but I believe they were using footage from other sites. But then again, they own, hundreds of sites.
In the lawsuit, their plaintiff says that they own in excess of 500 plus websites. They even go into detail talking about what some of the names of the websites are, which are pretty interesting. A lot of them are probably portals that go back, again, towards maybe their flagship website or something, but I can name a few if it's okay. I know this.
Go for it.
Some of them are pretty vulgar. So I copied a few of my favorite ones. So one of them is called spankwirecams.com. Another website they own is called xhamsters.com. I don't know if you I don't know if you can do that with hamsters and it'd be legal, but maybe that's not what that means. Fuckcams.com.
Fuck.
Yeah, straight up fuckcams.com. Pornhub Live, RedTube Live. So you can see they're trying to maybe cash in on the not so savvy pornography connoisseur who goes to straight up RedTube. Maybe he told his buddy, and his buddy's like, I'm going to check out RedTube, and so he gets suckered into going to one of their websites.
Check out
RedTubeLive.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's just to name a few, but they've got hundreds of these, and they've got, according to the lawsuit, tens of thousands of performers and the largest enterprise of its type in the world. End
Wow.
quote. Why that's pertinent, I think is I mean, again, if you're going to stream and you're going to do that and you're comfortable with your body and your partner and people and all that stuff, I don't care. If you've got it, flaunt it, that's fine. There's a business for it, and I think it's great. But some of the other things that we read kind of were a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I mentioned earlier in the stream that they have recruiting services?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's in the lawsuit and things that you can research by going to Twitter and looking this stuff up just in a Google search. There's a agency in New Jersey. I can't remember the name of it. I should have probably written it down, but I think it's in the lawsuit. So there's an agency in New Jersey that goes to the local universities and sets up I guess for a lack of better words, I guess just like an intern table or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
In my business, where we look for interns for summer jobs and things like that to help us around where I work at, we go and we get like a table or a booth or something out, and there's these big job fairs. Well, these recruiting agencies just straight up put a table out, and they try to recruit people to perform, sex acts and stuff on campus. And I mean, like I said, all up to you if you want to do that, but that's just an example of how aggressive they get. Now, another thing that... Go ahead.
So let me just interject real quick. So essentially, StreamMe was one website under the same umbrella of a lot of other people, of this porn mega empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So the people that paid my money out, like the checks I cashed, were the same people that pay thousands of porn stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Alright, go on.
Well, I was just going to... We're going into bad territory here, I guess. I don't really have a point or any skin in this part of the game. I just thought it was a fun theory. I don't know so much. It's maybe not the right term. But I think that also they could have been shut down because of the legal stuff this way, where they stole technology, or they could be in trouble for the nature of their business, which could be anything around human trafficking or sex trafficking. And I'll explain my reason why that might not be so good. Excuse me. So yeah, and a lot of the stuff you research about some of their recruiting services and their footprint. They have they called it in the lawsuit wholesale signups and recruitment agencies. And so these are not like your website that goes around and collects people who just say, "Hey, I'd like to sign up to stream on your website." This is a legit like boots on the ground operation. Like I mentioned, the one in New Jersey. And so they have these in Eastern Europe, the former Soviet states, it said, Latin America, and Asia. And you can just go to CNN or any of these other news websites, and they'll report the straight up facts of sex trafficking in the 21st century. A lot of these places will go just unmoderated, and I think that correlates to the way they also moderated Stream.me. Where there would be people I think would come into your chat and harass you and things like that, and the moderation staff just kind of had a hands-off kind of
one time
policy.
One time, I was having like 100 people. This is when like the alt-right first showed up, and I like was taking a break, and then I like started streaming again. And so I had like 100 people like say like kill the tranny over and over again, and then like I was just laughing at it because I was like whatever. And so then community fucking rep came in and was like, if you don't moderate your chat room, we're going to remove you from the contest for spam.
Oh my god.
So like while it's a wall of like swastikas, like kill yourself, gas the trannies, right? The admin of the website is like, if you don't mod your chat, like go fuck yourself.
Well, that brings it into this point that I'm trying to make, is that we've experienced the way that they've moderated their website. So imagine that kind of treatment to literal hundreds of these cam sites across the world.
Right, they have a rules list, but like you can report people for the things on the rules list and nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
False flag.
Yeah,
you can false flag people,
if you will.
Well, one of the things that I saw in a CNN article, it was reporting that was done in a case in Asia or something, a smaller Asian community, where these young girls were being abducted off the streets, and they were drugged and put in front of these cam websites, and so people would come watch them. And normally I would think, well, wouldn't you just report something like that? Heaven forbid that people get away with stuff like that, but that seems to have been a common thing with some of these websites in the report that I read. And so not alleging that these guys are directly responsible for sex trafficking. However, there is a law called Sesta Fosta that was passed a few years back, and the only reason why I know so much about it is because as an artist, it smacked the crap out of my community. There was a big issue once upon a time with human trafficking on a website that was like Craigslist, and not to get too much into detail with it, they had to create this law that basically broke the protection of site owners when it came to the moderation of their websites. So let's say right now, let's pretend that like we go back to that moment where people were harassing you and they came in and said, you need to moderate your chat. That's literally what the government did to some of these websites. Before, it used to be the other way around. Before, it was just like, look, I just provide you a service. And if you just have people who come on here and they're really rude, or they say really mean or hateful things, we're not liable for that. We just provide the service. So it got flipped around. Now, if you have people who show up on your website and they're doing things like, for instance, exploiting young women and stuff who get abducted and drugged and sexually assaulted on a live cam for people to pay money for, they're now held liable for that. And that was a newer development that happened last year. And so how that tied into the art community is like, I'm sure you heard about what happened to Tumblr, right? Where there was a lot of bad things going on there, and they got held responsible for it.
I think so, yeah.
They don't really moderate websites very well, and so that's also another example as to why I think they could be in trouble for that. StreamMe just doesn't do a really good job of moderating anything. They ended up shutting down a big website like Tumblr almost because they just had like a few people posting child pornography or something, right?
Yeah.
And so they tried to filter out the website, and it killed all of the art on the website because the filter was picking up artistic. Just like study of the human figure, fan art.
Yeah, I love
things
study
like
of the
that.
human figure.
Study of the human figure. I love
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If you read some of the way that they policed it, they had some really odd filter things, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
presented
Female nipples.
frontal nipples or something. Yeah, I was like, I don't understand what that means, but okay.
Yeah,
So-
but so it seems like basically StreamMe going down is a lot more complicated than a lot of people are claiming it may be. Is that essentially what we're kind of getting onto?
Yeah, no, yes, exactly. But it's certainly not. It's certainly not the reasons that people are saying.
So it's
not-
certainly not like
There's no way that it has to do with the docs. First of all, the docs, all of their information is public. We found it just by Googling it.
yeah, you can like
so-
Google StreamMe CEO
And the second reason is if it had something to do with the owner's family being harassed, they wouldn't just shut down StreamMe. StreamMe is a dot on the map.
Oh yeah.
StreamMe doesn't mean anything to these people. It's not important to them.
Another
They have
thing-
more viewers on Steammate, which is still up. Don't go there because malware. But
Yeah, don't go there.
Another thing is like there's like a lot of people work for StreamMe, right? What's going on
Yeah.
with them? Does anyone know?
Absolute
transferred
silence.
into the porn industry.
Yeah.
somebody said on Twitter today that that they were supposed to have a meeting last night. I don't know if that's true because that's still in Ralph's theory, and I think I'm sorry, but I think Ralph's full of it.
We can
he was
safely
either
ignore
lying-
anything Ralph Retort has ever said or done anywhere at all. That can just be safely just ignored.
He's either making it up or someone lied to him. But if they did have a meeting, somebody had said that like a bunch of the people that had worked there had left.
So you're saying you would read something at face value without like putting any thought into it?
Oh
That's
my
what I do
gosh.
all the time. As a podcast host, that's what I'm doing right now.
All right,
You think we
I'm
thought
gonna-
about this at all? No, I'm just having someone else do content for me. This is awesome.
let me say this. I'll take off the gloves for this part because I think that it's just kind of asinine. First of all, I hate it when people go around and they spread fake information like
Fake
dogs is
news?
caused. Fake news, yes.
Oof.
So the idea, listen, the idea of a dox that, and I don't know if I can say it in your stream. It's up to you. But what a tribute is, it has to do with something that's pretty vulgar, right? Like pornography stuff, kind of
You can be as vulgar as you want as long as you don't break any.
terms of
rules.
service. Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, what a tribute is they take a picture of another person, and they masturbate on it, and then they take a picture
On
of
the
it
picture.
onto the picture.
So
And
like
then
do they like curl the picture around their penis?
No, they
No.
ejaculate onto
no,
it.
they catch the ejaculate onto the photo, and then they take a picture of it.
Wait a
right?
second. So you're
Come on the
saying
photo.
so wait a second. So I'm not sure if this is good news. Maybe Brooke would want to leave after hearing this. But back in the day,
No.
when I was
no.
18, I think
No.
I had
Stop.
a copy of Mega Man X6. Now you might know that's one of my favorite games, and I may or may not have. I'm not admitting to anything, but the thought crossed my mind, and it may have occurred. But again, I'm not admitting anything, and Mega Man X6 may have been involved. That's all I can say.
Andrea.
So would you say that you are familiar with the process? Of
I am
tribute-
familiar. Yep.
You've tributed Mega Man 6. Okay.
X6. Thank you very much.
Okay. That's fair. I don't blame you for that. It's a good game. So, but no. So back to my point. I'll just put it this way: I cannot believe a theory where there's a dude who is a pornography kingpin shutting down a $3-4 million revenue website just because some dude from 8chan like came on a picture of you or your wife and then sent it to you on a burner phone or something. Like,
Yeah,
I would
it's
not-
a little ridiculous. Like, if this guy's got millions, if not billions of dollars, why the fuck is he gonna care about what fucking, oh, I found a picture of your wife, guys.
Don't hit me.
You know, putting tons of people out of jobs, putting streamers out of jobs that were relying on the website.
Oh no!
It's and not shutting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Shutting down the other website.
Hold on.
And if you,
I just want to take this moment. Reminder: Patreon.com/Sabrian531. Hit me up, please.
but yeah, that also goes into another point too, right? Like, you've got all this money. Why? Okay, so if you're afraid that somebody knows your information, right, and it's you've already posted it online. If you have so much money, then if you're afraid of somebody coming and harassing you, wouldn't you have like a bodyguard or a detail? Or, I mean, I'm sure you're not driving your own car to work every day. That's a fact, right? So
Yeah, it's a lot of.
another
They take
thing.
the bus.
Yeah, they take the bus.
I mean, and they live really public lives. They've put themselves out there. They have to have known that at some point that they're going to come across harassment. And you would think that this would happen more often given the nature of their work and what they've done so far.
And another thing too, I can't believe this theory. I know the doxed happened. I've seen the information. I see where it's came from. But like, let's be honest here. The only reason why people are touting this is because it comes from the community that feels like that there's some sort of oppression going on, and that they're out to prove a point. Oh look, we got doxed because we are free speakers and we are the alt right. We're so far right that it's we're not allowed to say things, and we're persecuted and shit like that. Like,
Please don't persecute me for my freedoms.
yeah, so like I understand that there's a narrative, and it frames their narrative pretty well. So I honestly, and I think I engaged on Twitter the other day with a young lady that was in the contest as well on Stream.me, and she said, "Well, I had read the documents that you're saying that they are in trouble for, and they're just over some trademarking stuff. So I'm not, I'm not too sure that they actually understand what's going on, or they're being fed some fake information, or they're just not interested. Again, they just want to be so right that they don't give a shit to read the bold black print on the first page of the lawsuit. It's not. I don't think it's right. I don't think that their little theory is exactly what happened, and they've yet to produce any evidence. I mean, I'll definitely back down and apologize on thinking that. If they just said something, or if StreamMe came out and said, "Yeah, guys, sorry, we just shut down our website for this reason."
Well, could you believe them if they did?
The thing that's
Yeah, right.
the thing that's so interesting here is that Zach and I have had personal relationships with lots of the people on the staff. And I don't know how much you want to get into that, Zach, or if you want to at all.
No.
But no, okay.
I would
Suffice
prefer
it
not
to
to
say-
talk about my relationship with staff.
Yeah, suffice it to say, a lot of what this is pointing in the direction of pure and utter incompetence on every single regard. Would that sum it up, I would say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Like, just doing things without even remotely thinking about any repercussion whatsoever. Like, just doing it just to do it, And having a lot of moving parts that's just unregulated entirely. It's a recipe for disaster. And is this pretty much it? Like, as far as the info dump is concerned?
Yeah, for the most part. Again, it's just
Everything else would be speculation. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
it is all speculation aside from the evidence that we have. We think that StreamMe shut down over legal reasons, but we can't prove that it is related. We just have more evidence saying yes, and more reasons to say that the other theories are wrong.
This is more plausible, and I bet if somebody actually wanted to spend a few dollars and go to the legal website, just pay for the documents. Again, I didn't want to dump like $10 into it just to research, something I don't have like any skin in or anything like that. But like, if the information's got to be there, guaranteed, it's got to be something about Discovery. Maybe they started going through more of the businesses that they owned. Again, the timing is just right. You've got things like, StreamMe being founded in 2014, early 14 and late 13, and then you've got, all this technology, and it adds up with what the guy has said on his LinkedIn profile, one of the others. It's literally verbatim the technology that was stolen. And then you've got this long chain of discovery where they first caught on to how much money they were making with this massive pornography empire.
Mm-hmm.
And then you finally get to something that I think that even that Ralph guy has said something along the lines of, it's just a vanity project. I mean, that's fine. But still, then you could definitely rope that into this argument saying maybe they shut down their vanity website because they didn't want to get caught. So, I don't know.
I mean, it's fun to speculate. I will say it is fun to speculate, and we will be doing a lot more speculation as time goes forward, and there's going to be like a lot more information. I'm sure we're going to be learning over the next few weeks, I'm guessing. Like, there's no way it's just going to be, that's it, There's going to be something that comes up at some point. So yeah, like, we'll definitely be keeping up with this. I'm excited, honestly. Like, I'm really excited. Like, I've disliked Stream Me for a while, but I've always felt kind of beholden to them because they kind of, like, gave me money. So this is gonna be really fun. And like the shit that they've kind of like done over the past, like 2017 was a little interesting. Like the staff actually tried, I felt like, but then like 2018, there's a lot of staff changes and like they just didn't give a fuck,
Mm-hmm.
So fuck them all as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Get a real job.
I left. Yeah, they didn't seem like they really moderated their stuff very well.
Not at all. And it sucks that it looks like we're probably never going to find out exactly what happened. They may come out and say something, but it seems to me like they're really relying on the rumors and things, and I believe that they're not above lying about what happened to cover it up if this is the case and it is illegal. The only way we'll find out...
above lying about it. They will lie to like the end of time.
Right. So the only way we'll ever find out about it is if it makes the news and they did, do something with sex trafficking or child pornography like Sage had said, or if they lose this court case, it might come out that the site had to be shut down or that they shut it down to protect themselves maybe.
So I've been scrolling through the Twitter feed as just like a video feed for this, and there have been like maybe like very, very few tweets that get over like 5 likes.
90,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah, 90,000 Twitter followers.
This is a lot of
average. The average tweet gets like 5 likes. I mean, so that's funny.
Well, this is something that might have something to do with it. Back when we were working on the marathon, one of the things that Stream Me had done to help promote the marathon was they would come up with contests or things where they would say, go follow this Twitter, and it enters you in a contest to win, blah, blah, blah. And I remember we went from we had maybe 200, 300 followers to begin with, and overnight we woke up the next morning, there were 3,000. We don't know any of those people, but Stream Me was able to do that for us. So I think it's very likely that they were able to do that for themselves as well.
100%. 100%. And that's why it's just really funny. It's like their entire thing was just try hard, fake garbage.
Oh yeah. Like again, now that you know the background of who they really are, because if you go research anything about their public lives, you don't have to do too much digging to find out some of their other business, dealings. But it's very superficial the way they put themselves out there. They put themselves out as I love snowboarding. I'm a snowboarding bro, and that's all that Ralph really saw whenever I was watching his stuff. If he would have dug just maybe a little bit deeper or done any sort of journalism or due diligence or any fact finding, he would have found out these dudes are like pornography kingpins, and they have this massive marketing setup where they spam bot people on Twitter. They've got malware. They put in spyware, all sorts of crap into people's computers. It's just... to me, that's no good. That's scummy. So I mean, they're not who they really put on. I believe they're kind of they're up to something.
Yeah, no, I'm like I said before, I'm excited and I can't wait to pontificate.
Seems like the whole brand is just like I don't know, just get their hands into as many jars as possible with like kind of like put up a front as a business, like a full-fledged like model, but it's like mostly just marketing and like maintaining the website.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Like, this has been pretty fun. I'm gonna keep looking into this. So,
Yeah,
if you want to
definitely
do
do.
like come back next week and like if there's anything new, we can do like a recap. You know?
Yeah, I'll do some reading. I may even actually just go ahead and get so curious I'll just buy the rest of those. those
Yeah. If
documents just to
anyone
read them.
anyone wants to crowdfund that, you know, we can do that as well.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
it wants me to pay $10 into their website for a 50-cent document, so I'll probably just bite the bullet and just dump money into their website.
Well, I think I'll do it for this.
Oh yeah.
Y'all want to say anything else?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Well, thanks for coming on. This has been very informative.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you for like just kind of talking for an hour, so I didn't have to do anything.
You're welcome.
In essence, fuck stream me.